Up next, this finalist has been to Little Rock before as the defensive coordinator from Florida.
if I could have everyone's attention for 1 second. You all are welcome to go ahead and sit and start eating. We will start the program at 11:15, but the service will continue throughout. So you're welcome to go ahead and start.
Would everyone please take your seats? The program will begin shortly. Please take your seats. You're right over here.
please find your seat. We're about to begin our program. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seat. We're about to begin our program.
That's good.
Dan, please. Yeah, it's not. Is it on? I don't think it's on. Please take your seats. You're going to have to start. AB's out in the lobby.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seat. We will begin the program in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seat. We're about to begin our program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2016 Broyles Award, honoring America's top assistant coaches and benefiting the Frank and Barbara Broyles Foundation. Please turn your attention to the back of the ballroom for our special guest introductions. We start with this first-team All-American and Outland Trophy winner for Jackie Sherrill's Pitt Panthers. He later was a first-round draft choice for the Washington Redskins, where he became a Super Bowl champion under Joe Gibbs, and was named one of the 70 greatest Redskins of all time. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2005, and for 15 years has been a feature analyst for ABC and ESPN. Making his first appearance at the Broyles Award ceremony, please welcome Mark May. Next, we keep with our 21-year tradition of welcoming back our previous year's Broyles Award winner. This Oklahoma offensive coordinator has picked up where he left off last year, leading the Sooners to a 10-2 record and the number 2 scoring offense in the country, averaging 45 points per game. Please welcome your 2015 Broyles Award winner, Lincoln Riley. It's now time to meet our 2016 Broyles Award finalist class. Our first finalist comes to us from the University of Michigan, where his defense helped the Wolverines to a 10-2 record this season, including a national ranking of number 2 in scoring defense, number 2 in total defense, and number 1 in pass defense. He began his coaching career in 1977 and continues to produce in his 39th season. Please welcome Michigan defensive coordinator Don Brown. Our next finalist is the offensive coordinator of the Pitt Panthers, where his offense this season smashed the all-time Pitt scoring record with 508 points and 42 points a game, including scoring 76 points in their season finale against Syracuse. His head coach is a former Broyles Award winner, Pat Narduzzi, and he's the only offensive coordinator in this year's finalist class. Please welcome Pittsburgh's Matt Canada. Our Our next finalist is the defensive coordinator of the Colorado Buffaloes, a team that had been one of the worst defenses in America, but under his leadership has moved up more than 100 spots in multiple defensive categories and led to a Pac-12 South championship appearance, even though in preseason they'd been picked to finish last. Please welcome this coaching veteran of almost 40 years and Colorado's first Broyles Award finalist, Jim Levitt. Up next, this finalist has been to Little Rock before as the defensive coordinator from Florida State in 2013, becoming the 14th two-time finalist in Broyles Award history, and one of only 6 assistant coaches in Broyles Award history to be a multi-year finalist from 2 different schools. He has led the Alabama defense to one of the most dominating seasons ever, where they're currently ranked number 1 in scoring defense, number 1 in rushing defense, and number 1 in total defense. Please welcome the defensive coordinator from Alabama, Jeremy Pruitt. Our last finalist has become only the 4th assistant in Broyles Award history to become a 3-time finalist, including Oklahoma in 2006, Clemson in 2015, and now again for the Tigers in 2016. Even though he lost 7 starters from last year's defensive unit, the Clemson defense still ranks in the top 10 in multiple categories. The Tigers will enter the 4-team college football playoff for the 2nd consecutive year as ACC champions. Please welcome to Little Rock, Clemson defensive coordinator, Brent Venables. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause to your 2016 Broyles Award finalist. At this time, please welcome to the podium to begin our program, the chairman of the Broyles Award Advisory Committee, Jeff Hildebrand.
Boy, that was a little weak applause for me. I realize I'm nobody with these guys, but gosh, I can do better than that. Again, I'm Jeff Hildebrand with Centennial Bank. I'm chairman of the Broyles Advisory Committee. This is my 13th year to be associated with the award that is now 21 years old, and we kid David all the time. This is his oldest child, getting ready to graduate from college. So it's been a labor of love of his, and it's turned into a terrific award, and we've got a great group of finalists again this year. But before we get started, let me introduce former head coach of the University of Arkansas and always a Razorback, Ken Hatfield, to say the prayer.
Would you bow with me, please? Most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful today that we live in the greatest country in America that gives us the freedom to enjoy the game of football and everything we can learn from it. And we just ask your blessing on the men and women who protect us and give us that freedom this very day. And Lord, right now, everybody in this room collectively, we just ask that all our prayers would go up to Coach Broyles, and we know his Spirit's with us today. I thank you so much, Lord, for the assistant coaches being honored today and all the assistant coaches that they represent. I know Leonard Bernstein, the great orchestra conductor, was asked the most important instrument to play. And immediately he said, second fiddle. He said, you see, without second fiddle or third chair, you have no music. And so today, these coaches, they will represent all assistant coaches everywhere of making the music that only football can give. Lord, we just ask that you bless this food. We thank you so much for the people who provided for it and prepared it, and for the people who come to serve it to us unselfishly. All these things we ask in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Coach. Please enjoy your lunch. We'll get started with the program in a few minutes. Yeah. Yeah, we're ready to go. Please continue to enjoy your lunch. We're going to go ahead and start with the program. It's my pleasure now to introduce the creator of the Broyles Award. He's a morning co-host on the show with no name on 103.7 The Buzz, a local aging heartthrob, and a legend of his own mind, David Basil.
Hey, I was nice with you this year.
You know, after 13 years, Jeff, you might get some new material. I think you did that back in 2004, so that's all right. It is great to be here today. I know we're going to start the program a little bit earlier than normal because we have so much to cover today. I'm looking at this sold-out capacity crowd, and I reminded coaches, 1996, the first year we did this, I forget who the coach was, the assistant who was a finalist came in, and I think we had a sold-out crowd then. He said, you know what? He said, I'm sort of shocked. I expected we were going to come in and eat at a Western Sizzlin' and have 25 or 50 people there. And nothing against Western Sizzlin'. I do TV commercials for them. But this is such a great crowd, and we appreciate you being here. The 21st year, we've had over 100 of the top assistants in America honored in the last 20 years. I think that's worth a round of applause just for that. How about that? It's exciting. This is a new chapter. We've had a great relationship with the Rotary Club for the last 10 years, 11 years, and maybe 13 years. They've been outstanding. But this year, there was an opportunity presented for us to team up and merge with the Frank and Barbara Broyles Foundation. So it's so cool, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, to be able to not only honor the top assistant coaches in America, but be able to help support one of Coach Broyles' other legacy, and that's supporting Alzheimer's caregivers. So it's an exciting time. We'll get into more detail. I want to introduce some folks. And I told these coaches I'm an up-tempo speaker. I'm a fast talker because we got a lot of ground to cover. So just try to understand what I'm saying so we can get to the real important people, our finalists and Mark May here a little bit later. I did want to acknowledge, you can see Coach Broyles is not here today. This is the first time in 21 years that we haven't had Coach here. Is he 92 yet or 91? He'd be 92 on the 26th. He's 92 and he's a little under the weather. When you're 92 and you're under the weather, the doctor says you don't travel. And so he's not here, and we found out this week that he was not going to be here. We do have a video of Coach a little bit later we're going to play, which is very exciting. And so in lieu of that, today for the finalist breakfast, where Coach Broyles usually sits with the finalists, we had two gentlemen who know Coach Broyles very well, the all-time winningest coach in Razorback history, All-American kick returner. Coach Ken Hatfield was there this morning. Coach Harold Horton, who has more than 40 years of relationships with the University of Arkansas as a player, coach, head coach. And these two guys shared for 30, 45 minutes about Coach Broyles. And so let's give them a round of applause for being here today. You know, Coach Horton, you know, if you've ever been around Coach Horton, he would still be talking today if we hadn't stopped him. Right now, because he is a talker, but some of the stories he told, I heard one he told about Coach Broyles taking his assistants back. I don't know what the year was. Lombardi had just retired. Took him to Green Bay, and all the assistants got to watch Frank Broyles break down football with Vince Lombardi, talking about the power sweep. How cool is that? But anyway, thanks for the great stories, guys. Also to my left, Mark May, who I'll formally introduce here in just a few minutes. When I called him up and said, Mark, it looks like Coach's not going to be able to make it. Would you consider coming? And he said, I'll be there, and rerouted his flight from ESPN in Connecticut. And wait till you hear the interesting connection he has to Coach Broyles, besides playing for two of his great assistants, Jackie Sherrill and Joe Gibbs. So, and if you will, real quick, I want to thank our sponsors. We got a lot of sponsors to thank, so just bear with me. We couldn't do it without them. I did want to make mention, if you're doing social media, first of all, we want you to mute your phone, but you can text everybody. RJ Hawk from Hawk Media Solutions is handling our to Twitter and at Instagram. So it's at Broyles Award if you do social media. If you want to tweet out during this ceremony, we'd love for you to do that. You can go to the Facebook page as well. Our website is broylesaward.com. We're live streaming right now, so anybody on the planet, they log into broylesaward.com, can watch this live in high definition. So I just want to make that, and then make sure you mute your phone where it doesn't ring throughout the ceremony. I do want to acknowledge our sponsors real quick. I'm going to start with a group that's been with us for, 7, 8, 10 years. Delta Dental, Ed Choate, Phyllis Rogers, who's at our head table, Weldon Johnson at our head table, who is a host. So great to have Delta Dental back. Couldn't do it without them. They've been just an anchor for us for, I guess, 10 years. So thank you to Delta Dental. Advanced Tissue, Kevin and Sharon Lamb, they have bought into the Broyles Award, and we appreciate you understanding the value of what we're doing here. Thank you to Kevin and Sharon. Lexicon, Schick Steel, Tom and Patrick Schick. Patrick, thank you for sponsoring our reception dinner last night. It was outstanding. Appreciate you and your dad's support. Woodland Research, Nicole Gutierrez and Ann Poole. That's a company up in Northwest Arkansas, so we're really excited to have some folks, they're a pharmaceutical research company, to have them involved. Thank you. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Wally Hall, a buddy of mine who supported this award since the day I shared it with him. He just went to the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you, Wally, and Amanda Copley. The Communications Group, Dane Cowling, who's been with me since day one of this award 21 years ago, works extremely hard. Jason Brown is just a trooper. Thank you, Jason. Couldn't do this without the Communications Group. Arkansas Graphics, Mike Broadway. If you'll see the brochure on your tables, those are award-winning brochures that go out to every national media writer in America that covers college football, and every head coach and assistant coach. Mike, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you for Arkansas Graphics and what you do. KTV Channel 7. Steve Sullivan does our videos. I've done them for 21 years. Nobody does them better. Sully, thank you. Chris Scott also helping out today. Mark Rose and Nick Ginty. Thank you, KTV Channel 7. Simmons Bank, George Macris. Thank you, George, for sponsoring this award for the second year in a row. Andrew Carroll is at the head table. He is a host. I want to thank Andrew for hosting as well. Next, we have Crane Automotive, Larry and Chris Crane. Thanks so much, Larry, for believing in the Broyles Award and sponsoring us again. Drew Deese, thank you for your support as well at Crane Automotive. The Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher is behind me. Greg was instrumental in branding the Rotary Club and the Broyles Award. He's been instrumental. His son, as you know, is a two-time state champion quarterback and a two-time state champion wrestler. And don't you think he was talking to these coaches today about his son at quarterback in the future for where he wants to go to school. But I know, Greg, thank you for your support, and you're a great dad. You got a great son there playing football. Next, I want to thank Centennial Bank. Jeff is with Centennial Bank, and Jeff Hildebrand has been invaluable to the Broyles Award. He's my right-hand guy. He knows this award back and forth, and appreciate Centennial allowing you to have such an active role in the Broyles Award, Jeff Hildebrand. Benny Keith, Tom Pangburn, Rusty Mathis had an unbelievable meal last night at the Clinton Library. Thank you so much for stepping up and providing unbelievable food. Thank you, Tom and Rusty. Biotech, another Northwest Arkansas company that decided to be a sponsor. I want to thank Dale Benedict, the president, for doing that and being down here today. We appreciate that. Look forward to growing that relationship. The Little Rock Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, Jay Chesser. We're proud to be here in Little Rock, and we appreciate Jay's and the Chamber's support. Sissy's Log Cabin, J.R. Richard, Bill Jones. I think we hadn't done this in a while, but this is the first time we've actually been able to give lapel pins, necklaces to the coaches, and we appreciate the folks at Sissy's for helping us with that. Airways Freight. Jason Self here locally. Airways is going to take care of the Broyles Award. We may be taking it to Atlanta for the Home Depot Awards this Thursday night. They're going to hand deliver it and bring it back and make sure and take it to the Winners College campus. So we appreciate them. Twin City Limo, Greg Hatcher, one of his companies. I have to thank Dale Bennett and Popeye last night. We had coaches coming in all time during the day. Jeremy Pruitt from Alabama got here at 2:30 in the morning. And last year, I picked up Tom Herman at 2 in the morning. And I was going to do it for same for you, Coach, but Twin City said, no, we'll do it. And so we appreciate all those guys picking up all of our coaches in limos. We really appreciate that. It's very classy. Next, the Travel Shop, who does all our booking for our coaches. We appreciate them. AMSCO, Jeff Reardon, for all our badge work. We appreciate them. Also, DPI, Brian Duncan, Greg Hammonds. Many of you can't see, but a couple new things we did this year is we have a walk of winners and finalists. From right here in front of me all the way to the back is the name of every winner we've ever had and all the finalists, and we're just going to add to it every year, and that's what they walk down and do. And thanks DPI for their work on that, as well as the stand-ups. You know what we did, Coach, I don't know if y'all saw the stand-ups the 6-foot stand-ups. Some of these coaches' wives decided they wanted, hey, can we keep those things? Because we just prop those up in the kitchen since we don't see our husbands very much during football season. So thank you to DPI for doing those. Also, Gary Parrish and Parrish Delivery Services for getting all of our trophies everywhere we need to have them. So how about those sponsors? Will you give them a round of applause? We couldn't do it without them. So Lincoln and Matt, you're the two offensive guys. Pretty good so far? Am I up tempo? Am I doing it? All right, hang with me, hang with me. Couple more thank yous before we get to the good stuff. I do want to thank Debbie Wyman, our executive director of the Touchdown Club, who's handled all of our ticketing and seating. She brought her whole army from the Touchdown Club. Wes Sutton's up here at our head table, who's done photographs with all of our coaches for 21 years. Couldn't do without Wes. Terry Condor Johnson, the executive director of the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. She's also a host here tonight. Thank you, Terry. A.B. Metter's also a host as well today, and he helped with Greg the relationship with Rotary 10, 15 years ago, so we appreciate A.B. Last but not least, Dwayne Duncan, who's taken our photos. Thank you, Dwayne, and Jason Burt, who've done it for the last, 13 years. So those are some, I hope I didn't leave anybody out. This is teamwork. A lot of time I get credit. You know, this is my kid. Hey, sorry, Mom, by the way. It's all I could do. But there are a lot of volunteers, it's the truth, a lot of volunteers that made this thing happen. And we're here for a reason today rather. And I thought it would be, since we didn't have Coach here, that it would be nice, and I want to thank Chris May at Channel 7, for listening to just a short, brief recap of why we're here today about the man, Frank Broyles.
If anyone can be said to have a golden touch, it would be Frank Broyles. His success is unparalleled as a coach, an athletic director, and a broadcaster. His career took off in 1957 when he was asked to head the football program at the University of Arkansas.
But the Arkansas job is one I'd wanted since 1948. And I remember the night, it was 7:31 and 30 seconds. On December the 6th, I got a call from John Barnhill, the athletic director, and he said, "Hello, Frank, this is Barney." And I said, "What the heck you been waiting on?" And he was the AD, and he joked, he laughed, and I've been trying to get all the ducks on the pond. I said, "Well, where are they?" He said, "They're all swimming." I said, "I'll be there tomorrow." And that was the deal.
And what a deal for the Razorbacks. In his 19 seasons on the Hogs sideline, Broyles led his teams to 7 Southwest Conference championships, a school record 22-game winning streak, and in 1964, an undefeated dream season that ended with a share of the national championship.
It had great memories for all of our fans, all of the players that participated. It's something that's you always look back to, is when you ended up number 1, you take great pride in it.
To win at that level requires not just great players, but great coaches. And no one recognized coaching talent like Frank Broyles. His assistants included Hall of Famers like Joe Gibbs, Hayden Fry, Johnny Majors, Barry Switzer, and Jimmy Johnson, just to name a few. Among them, they won more than 2,000 football games as head coaches, including 5 national championships and 6 Super Bowls. And that's why it's fitting that the Broyles Award was created, to honor both this college football legend and the men Coach Broyles knew are the lifeblood of a program, the assistant coaches.
Let's hear a round of applause for Coach Broyles. Choosing 5 assistant coaches out of more than 1,000 is not easy. We've had a Hall of Fame selection committee for the last 20 years, and I decided we need to increase the size of it. Just for sake of time, we're not going to introduce all of them, but there are now 19. Let me just give you the combined records of our 19 selection committees and their achievements. They've won 14 national championships, 3,500 wins, 276 bowl appearances, 98 conference championships, and 15 of the 18 of them are in the College Football Hall of Fame, and the other 3 will soon be. That's the selection committee that chose you guys, and it is an unbelievable committee, and that's why I think this award has so much credibility. We have such an amazing group of finalists. I mean, we've got guys who've been around coaching for 39 and 38 years. We've had coaches like Lincoln, who are the youngest ever, last year at 32, win the award. We've had coaches that have been head coaches before. Coaches who've never been head coaches before. We've had 2 of the coaches up here, Jim and Don, who've been head coaches, and we have 3 up here that I'll promise you will be head coaches soon. And so I mentioned just before we get to the introductions of our finalists, so excited when I called Betsy and Molly and just said, would you be interested in having this award? And even though I started it 21 years ago, it never really was mine. Never made any money off of it. And I thought, how neat would it be if you thought it would be helpful in your mission for raising awareness and support for caregivers of Alzheimer's patients? And they go, we'll do it. And it's been a learning process for this first year, but what a great result. And they are the hardest workers. Betsy is going to be serving on the Arkansas Task Force on Alzheimer's. Molly has been on that committee. The Broyles Foundation in 2016 won the Excellent in Business Award for the best nonprofit in Fayetteville. Betsy was also a Caregiver of the Year award. I didn't know this, but Betsy was the first female Razorback basketball scholarship ever given. Did not know that. That was something that, but we all saw the picture of Betsy when she walked out with Coach after every game, win or loss, and Coach would hold her hand even after that tough 1969 loss in the shootout against Texas. She was always there. And to watch the synergy and the chemistry between mother and daughter and president and vice president of the foundation has really been fun, and they've given a whole new energy. As you know, when women get in charge, things get done. So Jeff and I have learned to step aside and let Betsy and Molly take over this thing. So at this time, please give a big Broyles Award welcome to Betsy Arnold and Molly Gay.
Maybe kind of squeeze in here together. I was like, can we get in that space? We may need to widen this next year a little bit. All right, well, I am so overwhelmed and a little emotional looking out at this room today. A sold out crowd. That is incredible, especially this being our first year, as David mentioned. And thank you so much to everyone that has participated. This is so meaningful. Every year we get to come and kind of be on the other side, as David mentioned, and get to be a part of the fun stuff. And it has been a learning process. So much goes into this, everything that you're seeing. And there are things that the day before and things coming up after. And it takes everybody in this room to pull this off. And as he mentioned, now your support is going so much farther than the end of football season. It really is an all year round support. Caregivers, our foundation supports the caregivers, and they need help every day of the year. And we were caregivers for my grandma, and we didn't have anything. We didn't know what to do. And as we're talking about these coaches up here today, they're successful because they have a game plan. If my grandpa were standing here today, he would tell you three things. He would say, your attitude is your greatest asset. There is no substitute for good preparation. You have to prepare to win games, and you have to know your opponent in order to win. And that is the same thing for caregiving. And the thing about coaching is you have that playbook, you have that game plan. And Alzheimer's caregivers do not. They don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, and they need help. And that is what y'all are doing today. Every single one of y'all are providing that help and that hope to our foundation now. And it means the world to our family, and it means the world to every single person that's going through it. The statistic now is every 66 seconds someone develops Alzheimer's. And that means an entire family needs help and support. Some of the things that our foundation does is we provide free counseling. We like to call it caregiver coaching. It's not just talking, it's developing that game plan. We're a resource center. We provide support groups. We have a book that my family wrote after caring for my grandma. It's called Coach Broyles' Playbook for Alzheimer's Caregivers. We've now distributed over 1 million copies in 11 languages, and that's what your support is going to today. I just want to mention quickly, for the sake of time, we have a gentleman who has given us a matching opportunity. So every dollar, every ticket that you bought was doubled today, every sponsorship dollar.
Thank you.
So please, if anyone out there is struggling with this, we not only support people here in Arkansas, but all over the country. So please find us, get in touch with us. We are here for you, and thank you again. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Mom.
So I just wanted to thank everybody too, and it is very emotional for me, and I'm going to do my best not to cry. But I look at this group, and we spent last night with them, and y'all are going to be, this is our first year to do this, and you will always be so special in our hearts. And your wives, we had such a wonderful time with your wives last night, and And, this is a day that I will never forget, and I will laugh when David called us and was talking to us. If he could have seen us, of course, we put him on speaker like, oh, it's David Basil. He's calling us, he's going to tell us. And so we put him on speaker, and when he said it, if he could have seen us, we were jumping up and down in the room and just celebrating. And it was just because, I've come to this award almost every year, and I've loved it because it's about Dad. And now to have the opportunity to marry his two legacies, because, Dad loves football, but his legacy of helping caregivers and helping families and trying to give them a better quality of life is really what his life is all about now. And so cannot thank all the sponsors enough, all the ticket buyers, and Dad on Wednesday taped a little video, so I'd like to turn it over to Dad.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could be there with you in person today, but believe me, I'm there in spirit. It seems like yesterday when I was an assistant hoping and praying for a chance to be a head coach. I remember what that's like. I was blessed with some of the greatest coaches who ever walked the sidelines as my assistants. I was so proud when they became head coaches. I look at what you finalists have accomplished, and I'm confident in saying this is as strong a class of finalists as we've ever had. I would be proud to walk the sidelines with any one of you. Congratulations, coaches.
How about that? Frank Broyles, how about that? That is outstanding. Thank you, Betsy and Molly. Real quick, before we get started with our finalists, I wanted to recognize as a group, ladies, if you don't mind, would all the coaches' spouses that are here, please stand and let's recognize them as a group. Ladies, please stand. All the spouses of our finalists, please stand. I'll never forget, Coach, the first year we did this thing, I took out a loan. I didn't have any money to do it, and so the budget was a little tight. So every finalist I call, I say, Coach, congratulations, you're a Broyles Award finalist. And they go, oh, man, that's exciting. That's great. That's great. Do you mind if I bring my wife? And I was like, okay, sure. So I called Coach Broyles and said, Coach, all these finalists want to bring their wives. And Coach Broyles said, oh, that's good, David. That means it means something to them. Of course, I'm thinking, oh, my Lord, I'm going to be broke on this thing. But it is the greatest dynamic, I think. I know Jeremy and obviously Brent have been here before, and as our last year's winner, Lincoln, is being able to recognize your spouses, who are such the backbone of your career. So certainly want to acknowledge them. And also, I did want to acknowledge, referenced, the most important woman in my life is my mother. Please give a round of applause for Carolyn Basil. She's over here somewhere. I remember, I guess it was last year when we introduced Lincoln Riley. I knew he was going places. What he did at Oklahoma last year, winning this award at age 32, the youngest ever. He comes back this year. Oklahoma looks like they were in trouble, lose the first two games against very good teams, Houston, Ohio State, but now have rolled off 10 wins in a row, 10-2. Going to be playing Auburn in the Sugar Bowl. They're going to be a great matchup. Again, his offense has picked up. He has tutored a quarterback. I don't know if you heard, Baker Mayfield, who for the second time won the Broyles Award Trophy as the walk-on of the year, and also is headed to New York City to be a Heisman finalist, which is exciting. We always bring back our former finalists from the year before, so let's give a Broyles Award welcome to our last year's winner, Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma.
Thank you, David. It's incredible to be back. We were talking last night at dinner, which was phenomenal. Actually, I got in pretty late last year, like Jeremy did. I missed a lot of the great events around this award, and so. But we were talking last night about, as coaches, once the season starts, it's like the best way I can describe it to people, it's like you go to sleep, and then when it's over, you wake up, and then depending on the kind of season, it's either a nightmare or a really good dream, one of the two. And just to believe that we're back here already again is incredible. My wife Caitlin could not make it. We had our second daughter was due in the middle of September, and or in mid-August, which is right during the middle of our fall camp. You could argue probably our busiest time of the year as coaches. I left early that morning, and we were kind of joking about it'd be kind of funny if she decided to make an early appearance. So in between a two-a-day practice, my wife calls me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, getting ready for the next practice." "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I think she might be making an early appearance," and I kind of laughed it off. Well, she wasn't kidding. And so we had our second daughter in August, and so she is home, definitely taking care of her. She's not quite ready to that point to leave her yet. And so, but this is great. It's very, very special to be back here. This award has really come to mean a ton to me and to my family. When I first found out that I was a nominee last year and that I would be coming to this ceremony, I probably only knew of this as just an award for the assistant coach, only really the football side of it. And throughout the past year, being able to develop a relationship with the Broyles family, with David, with Jeff, all the people that make this happen, I've come to see that the most special thing about this award is what you guys do. Is the foundations that it supports, and it's very, very special. I want you to know that across college football, what you guys do here is important. People are taking notice of what you're doing. It's meaningful. So every dollar that you give in support to this award or to this foundation, to what the Broyles family is doing, it's important. This game, which is kind of hard sometimes to realize for us because we're all just ball coaches. I mean, that's all we do, and it's sometimes hard to realize the impact that this game has. How many people you can really reach, not necessarily just your players, but people on the outside. And isn't it great that we can all come here together to celebrate this game and what it does, but more importantly to help people who need it and to celebrate one of the greatest coaches and men that this profession has ever known. So. It's, like I said, a tremendous honor to be back. It's a great group of finalists. I know Matt Canada's happy that I'm here so that he wasn't outnumbered totally by the defensive guys. So us offensive guys get to watch our backs every now and then. So but it's a tremendous group. And like I said, thank you so much to the Broyles Award, to the Broyles Foundation, to David, everybody involved with it, and to Coach Broyles. He's certainly in our thoughts and prayers. So thank you so much for having me back.
Lincoln, Tom Herman 2 years ago, those of you who were here, Tom Herman won the Broyles Award. If you remember, he gave a very impassioned speech, one of the great speeches of all time, talking about it. He didn't have a father in his life. His mother was his hero. He talked about he only made $5,000 his whole first year in coaching at a Division III school in Texas. Well, did you hear his contract this week at Texas? It was 5 years for $30 million. And so my only point is, Lincoln, you're next. Yeah, I mean, we expect a contract from you here in the next year or two for sure. As I mentioned earlier about Mark May, when I reached out to Mark, Mark appears on 103.7 The Buzz with me, Tommy, Roger, RJ, every Thursday, probably I guess 4 or 5 years. So we love him here in Central Arkansas. I've had him at the Touchdown Club at least 2 years. You talking about an unbelievable resume, as we mentioned at the beginning. All-American at Pitt under Jackie Sherrill, Outland Trophy Award winner. He was the 20th overall pick in the NFL draft for the Washington Redskins, went to 3 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl championship under Joe Gibbs, College Football Hall of Fame 2005, and now he's all over ABC and ESPN. He and Coach Holtz used to make one of the great teams on Saturday nights that you'd ever see, and now he and Mac Brown are doing a great job, and it's great to have Mac on our selection committee here at the Broyles Award. And I think it's so great that when I called Mark and said, Mark, listen, Coach Broyles, short notice, he's not going to be able to make it. Would you come? He said, I'll be there. So with that in mind, I think we need to give him a great Broyles Award special applause. Mark May, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's not only an honor, but it's a privilege for me to be here. When David asked me to be involved with the Broyles Award, it was like, I have to find a way, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Coach Broyles means a lot to me. We've only met a few times in my life, but the influence and impact that he's had on my life is greater than you can imagine. Just connect the dots here for a second. I might not even be here if it wasn't for Coach Broyles. Coach Broyles coached Jackie Sherrill. Jackie Sherrill's my head coach at Pittsburgh. If Jackie's not a head coach at Pittsburgh or a coach, I'm not here most likely. Coach Broyles coached Joe Gibbs. If Coach Broyles doesn't coach Joe Gibbs, I don't have one of these. So think about that, how you can connect the dots back to a great man, and that's Coach Broyles. So when I was asked to do this, I was going to find a way to get here, and for me, it is an honor to be here. Now, I need to tell you a couple of stories about Coach Broyles. We only met a few times in life, but the impact that he had on my life early in my career when I was at the University of Pittsburgh. The first time is I was a freshman and played at the University of Pittsburgh. He and Keith Jackson did the broadcast for the game. So he's raving about this young freshman from upstate New York doing a great job, and I didn't know till after the game when the SID department and the media came up to me in my locker and said, you know what? Coach Broyles is talking about you, how good of a player you were. And I'm like, wow. Because back then there was no social media. We didn't have cell phones. So it was a big deal if you were on national television and somebody was talking about you. So I sat down and I said, you know what? I'm going to write him a letter to thank him. And just because I was from upstate New York, a dumb kid from upstate New York, I wanted to thank him because I may never get that opportunity again. Well, he wrote me a letter back. And in that letter, he just said, work hard, continue to do what you're doing. You're going to be a great player, and congratulations, young man. And I never forgot that. And one thing I didn't forget was the speech he gave us that Friday before the Saturday. He's got a southern drawl, and I can't articulate how he can do it, but it was like, he was standing in front of us. Do you love your school? Do you love your teammates? Do you love your coaches? Well, look around. Will you fight for your coaches? Will you fight for your school? Will you fight for your teammates? Go out on that field tomorrow and prove them wrong and prove yourselves right and win that game. 90 football players got up and gave him a standing ovation and went nuts and ran out through the doors for practice. Now that's how much of an influence this man had on people. So if you connect all those dots, that's how great of a man Coach Broyles is. That's how much of an influence coaches can have on young players and young people's lives. And I look up here on the dais and I see these coaches. The impact that they have not only as coaches, but as leaders, as educators, as teachers of young men. And not a lot of the players are going to make it to the next level and play in the NFL. But they're going to go out in life and be businessmen, teachers, artists, whatever they want in their life. It's out there in front of them, and it's because of the foundation that these coaches laid in front of them that helped them develop to work hard and to get the character out of them, to bring it out of young men and see the possibilities that you can be in the future and what you can be in the future. And with that, I want to thank you for having me. So let's get to it and let's honor these finalists. The first finalist, Don Brown, the Michigan Wolverines. Now, Don in his past, he'd been at Boston College and done an outstanding job as a coordinator there. But he goes to Michigan, and Michigan had a really good defense, but he elevated that defense to a better defense this year. They were so close to making the college football playoffs this year because of their defense at Michigan, their defense that led them this year. And not only that, how many coaches on the defensive side of the ball can say, you know, I coached a young player and helped develop him to get him to be a Heisman Trophy finalist on the defensive side of the ball. That was Jabril Peppers, and that's this year under the tutelage of Don Brown. So let's see some more on Coach Brown from this season.
Don Brown, Michigan. Don Brown will tell you football is all about pressure. You either feel it or apply it. And this season, Big Ten opponents wilted under the constant heat of Don Brown's Wolverine defense. They forced Rutgers to punt 16 times in a game. Brown's Michigan D allowed only 148 first downs. The Big Ten average is 212. They also led the Big Ten in total defense, scoring defense, red zone defense, sacks, and tackles for losses. Nationally, no team has had more tackles behind the line of scrimmage than the Wolverines. They average just under 10 a game, and Brown's Michigan D is the only team in the country to allow fewer than 65 first downs by pass. Today, a coach who's won on every level and has been nominated for the Broyles Award 4 times joins elite company. Michigan defensive coordinator Don Brown is a Broyles Award finalist.
It's pretty exciting stuff. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you, David. Thank you, Broyles family, award committee. Just a great opportunity for my head coach, Debbie Brown. 40 years. And who would have thought a guy on 48.5 Cherry Street grew up in Spencer, Massachusetts, would be in Little Rock, you know, to have a chance at this type of opportunity. And the opportunity is really the guys to my right. Great men, great coaches. Matt Canada done a great job at Pitt offensively. Obviously, Brent Venables, well, he's got the better of me 3 times when I was at Boston College, but I always kept fighting, Brent. Coach Levitt, John did such a great job as the head coach at USF, and just a great man. We got to know him and his wife last night and just had a blast. Coach Pruitt's done a great job at Florida State, obviously doing a tremendous job at Alabama. So, great coaches and all right in Lincoln. You make me nervous every time I get around you because I'm afraid you're going to start throwing the ball and stuff. So, not a fun scenario. Molly, I just want to thank you for spending some time with my wife last night. The work that you and your mom do is incredible, and it's touching our home right now, and obviously those words are kind of important. My other head coach, Coach Harbaugh, you know him? I want to share a story with you yesterday as I was coming to the Little Rock. Coach was with Tim Drevno, who was our offensive coordinator, and they were heading to Dallas recruiting, and my wife and I were going through Dallas, and then obviously connecting there to come to Little Rock. And Coach was in first class with Coach Drevno, and my wife and I, we were way back there. It's called the last row. And, we had a bit of a connection. It was close, and Coach my wife said, yeah, I just hope we make our connection. And all of a sudden, now this happened in Detroit, Michigan. So when Coach Harbaugh is in Michigan, it's a little scary. All of a sudden, I see him walking to the back of the plane with Coach Drevno, and he's going, yeah, you two get up there. So just make sure it'll help you make your connection. That doesn't happen every day now, that your boss switches place with you on a plane to make sure that that you're where you're supposed to be and have a chance to make your connection. That just doesn't happen. That just kind of shows the quality of the man that I'm working for. He's one of those guys, he's going to push the envelope, he's creative, and he expects creativity in our rooms, with our players, and at the University of Michigan. I'm also blessed because I get to coach some of the best players in the country. All 11 of my starters made some form of Big Ten, all Big Ten, whether it be first team, second team, third team, or honorable mention. And as Mark mentioned, I get to coach Jabril Peppers. If anybody's seen him, there's a reason why he's got a shot at the Heisman, and obviously we'll be keeping our fingers crossed, but the impact that he's had at Michigan and on our players and on our defense is flat out incredible. So very excited about the opportunity Coach Harbaugh presented me a year ago. Just finished up our first year, and everybody goes, Coach, what about the fourth down? I'm more concerned about the third down when we let him go for 10 yards when he cut all the way back. But great run. We're excited about playing in the Orange Bowl against Florida State, and obviously that playing in Miami as well. And the last thing I'll just share with you is this: a guy that grew up on 48.5 Cherry Street. His mom made shoes, and there were nights she'd come home, and I could smell that chemical that they made the shoes with on her clothes, and to be honest. Quite honest, sometimes on her breath. My father was a milkman, and they did everything they could to make sure that I went to college, that I got a great education. And my mom, Irish and tough. There was a few days, when I wasn't the perfect guy that I am now, I had to duck that right hand. So I got toughness from my mom, I got a personality from my dad. I've got one of the best jobs in the country, and I pursue my passion every day. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was awesome. Our next finalist, Matt Canada, offensive coordinator from the University of Pittsburgh. His accomplishments this year in his first year as a coordinator is to break the scoring record. 508 points in his first year as coordinator, leading the Panthers to the Pinstripe Bowl this year. Now think about this. Broke the scoring record at Pittsburgh. Dan Marino, Hall of Famer. Tony Dorsett, Hall of Famer. Those are some great players in the past, but he's got James Connors and some other great players at the University of Pittsburgh that he's been able to cultivate and mold, and in 1 year get them to be scoring champs, and what they've been able to do at the University of Pittsburgh. No bias here. Let's see some more on Matt Canada.
Matt Canada, Pittsburgh.
Bang, 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 let's go!
What Matt Canada has done with the Pitt offense in one season is nothing short of amazing. A year ago, the Pitt offense was ranked 10th or below in most ACC offensive rankings. This season, under Matt Canada's direction, the 2016 Panthers are the highest scoring team in Pitt football history. Pitt's per-game scoring average has jumped from 28 points a game last season to just under 40 points this season. And Pitt's 12-game streak of scoring at least 28 points a game is the longest active streak among Power 5 programs. And no offense in the country has been better than Canada's Panther offense in the scoring zone. They lead the nation in red zone efficiency with an 82% touchdown rate. Canada's Pitt offense also became the first unit in school history to score at least 36 points in 7 straight games. Words like fun and creative are used to describe Canada's equal opportunity offense. Today, a new description for this offensive whiz. Matt Canada of Pittsburgh is a Broyles Award finalist.
Very humbled to be here, and they do a good job making you look good on those videos, so I appreciate that. So, David, Jeff, to the Broyles family, thank you so much. It's awesome. I'm sitting there looking at them, and this is an amazing event that we've heard so much about as assistant coaches, and to be able to come here and now with your foundation, we talked last night, nothing's more important than family. So what you guys are doing, I know this was a fun event being the first one, but also different with Coach not being here. So we appreciate the professionalism you guys had. So I need to thank my players first. As it said there, I've been at Pitt for 1 year, and in January, I didn't have a job there for a couple of days. So you go from that to where we are today. It's been a pretty up and down season, as I guess you could say. But those players bought into our system. They allowed us to come in and put in what we wanted to do. They had a great coach in Paul Christ. Then Jim Chaney was the coordinator before me. Then they bring in this slap like myself and say, we're going to change all these things, and we're going to run jet sweeps and a couple shovels here and there, and we're going to think we're going to score some points. So they bought in, and I'm very, very indebted to them. And to our staff, John Peterson, the offensive line coach, we had 9 sacks on the season, which is impressive. Did a great job. Andre Powell, our running back coach, had a big part to do with that. Kevin Sherman, our wide receiver coach. Tim Salem, our tight end coach. Those guys, again, had not worked with any of them before. Certainly a change happens, and they'd done a good job on offense. They'd scored and won 8 games, and hey, we're going to change it all now, and they didn't really have to buy into that, but they did. Our graduate assistants, Dan Gerberry and Dave Buchar, Wesley Bouchonner, and then Matt Tomshaw. Those guys are our young coaches who, again, are my fiance Erin is here tonight, but she calls them the dream team because they put up with me every day. So those guys do a great job. And then Coach Narduzzi, and we all talked here as coaches last night. The defensive coaches talked to me a little bit at the end of the night to kind of let me come over and talk to them. But no matter where you are, whether you're an offensive guy or a defensive guy, if your boss, or really in anything you do, if your boss allows you the freedom to do your job, you have a chance to be successful. And I've known Coach Narduzzi for a long time, and he's a defensive guy. And he allowed us he trusted our system. He trusted us to go do what we wanted to do. And to that, I'm forever indebted because we had a lot of fun. And I don't know for sure that we are that creative, but we did find a way to score some points. So on a personal note, my kids, Tori and Chris, have been great to me and supported me through this run. Again, I mentioned Erin, my fiance, is here, and she's been awesome through this process. And then my parents have supported me as a coach, and I don't have a fancy name, and I didn't have a big pedigree or wasn't any kind of a player. So for me to work through this, there were some challenges. And David talked about our breakfast this morning. And Coach talked about a story about living the dream. You're living the dream. Well, I'm doing the same thing, Coach. And to piggyback off what you said this morning about your first salary, and then Coach Herman's, my first salary was $5,000 as well. And I had a business school degree from Indiana University, which somewhat acclaimed school. Had a master's degree from Indiana University. Interviewed with Ken LaRose at Butler. So my dad's a veterinarian, my mom's a pharmacist, and they allowed me to try to be a coach. We're going to support you, Matt. I went and interviewed. I got the job. Got the job, Dad. Great. I'm going to make $5,000, Dad. $5,000. And my dad, I mean, he's a doctor. He's smart. For the spring? No, Dad, for the whole year. But he didn't, my dad chased his passion to be a veterinarian, and he didn't say anything. He allowed me to do it. But I had to find a way to get it done. And Pete Eagles, who runs Anheuser-Busch, I haven't thought of him here until a little bit ago thinking of this story, but he ran Anheuser-Busch, and I'm from Indianapolis area. The Indianapolis 500, it's a big deal in Indianapolis. Well, Anheuser-Busch hangs race banners, and everything that you do in life is competitive. I would never have known that hanging race banners would be competitive, but that was my job. I made some money on May the 1st. Race is always on Memorial Day, for those of you who don't know, Memorial Day weekend. I'm hanging race banners in bars, in really bad bars, on top of things. And I'm with two young coaches, Adam Burrell and Craig Hauser, over the 16th Street Bridge as the sun's coming up. And my children and Aaron would testify, I am petrified of heights. I can't change a light bulb petrified. It's embarrassing. And I'm holding this guy over the 16th Street Bridge because we decided this was the best spot to put up this banner to prove we're doing our job, we're going to win. And I'm looking out going, what am I doing? Well, what I was doing was finding a way to be a coach, finding a way to live this dream, finding a way to get to be around the greatest game there is. Because all those people involved in our game pack our parachutes to allow our players to play. And it takes so many people like this event tonight for us to be able to do what we do. So I'm extremely humbled and honored, and thank you so much for having me.
Our next coach is Jim Levitt from Colorado, the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about his past. He was 95-57 at South Florida and built that program up from nothing as a head coach. Then he coached for the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. Then he had the challenge of going to Colorado, which is one of the worst teams, not only in the Pac-12 defensively, but in the country, and making them into one of the best defenses this season. Colorado hadn't been to a bowl game since 2007. They are going to the Alamo Bowl this year because of his influence on his football team and his great coaching ability. Let's see more on Coach Jim Levitt.
Jim Levitt, Colorado. 2 years ago, Jim Levitt took over a Colorado defense that had been consistently bad. 4 straight years of being ranked 10th or worse in the Pac-12. In his first year with the Buffs, Colorado improved from 11th to 7th in total defense and 5th to 2nd in pass defense. This season, Levitt's D is in the top 3 in 11 major Pac-12 defensive categories. No team in the country allowed fewer passing yards per game this year than Colorado, and Levitt's D excels in the most critical areas. The Buffs are 4th in the nation in red zone defense and 6th in turnovers gained. Jim Levitt specializes in making what some view as bad situations great. He did it at Kansas State, South Florida, and now Colorado. Today, the 59-year-old who's been called a turnaround artist earns another title. Colorado's Jim Levitt is a Broyles Award finalist.
Wow, this is awesome. This is great. I spoke, David knows, I spoke at the Touchdown Club, and a number of years ago when I was leaving South Florida, and the energy in the room was unbelievable, and y'all are just great. I enjoy hearing the stories. Honestly, you hear about coaches making all this money, like you talked about with the Texas and Herman and making all that money. I enjoy hearing the $5,000. I enjoy hearing, with Donna, with his family and how he grew up. You got to understand one thing, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We coach because we love what we do. And I don't know any coaches that go into it because, I'm going to make all this money. Like these guys, I lived in a car at a KOA campground for $6 a day. So I was under $5,000, And I remember my first job at University of Dubuque for $12,420. I was a head track coach. I was a D coordinator, and I taught abnormal psychology on Monday nights. Abnormal psychology, you can imagine. So I'm a piece of work, I'll promise you. But Betsy, Molly, I really appreciate y'all. And I mean that. And what Coach Broyles gone through, Barbara, and her years, and Alzheimer's, and the caregiving, and what this is all about, that's powerful, And to hear how about somebody matching, man, that's good stuff. And I want to make sure we know that's the whole purpose for all this. So I know the awards and the Broyles Award is big, and it's an honor, certainly, but man, that's really big. And Ken and Harold, when we heard those stories, I could listen to Harold all day, I'll promise you. And I know you're teasing about him going for a while, but I was there. I'm not a young pup. I've been around a little bit, so I connected, and I appreciate all that this morning. Like I said before, I've been a head football coach. I've been a head coach at South Florida for a number of years, and I get it. I understand how important it is to have a great staff. And I went through 3 presidents, 3 athletic directors. You can imagine I had coaches going all over the place because my salary pool for the coaches was $90,000. That's for all 10. So you can imagine I hired 2 coordinators for $34,500, and the rest got the rest of that great amount of money. They coach because of love of the game and because of passion. You don't have a great staff, you're not going to be successful. So forget about it. Now, I'm uncomfortable being here because, quite honestly, I don't ever feel I love my guys. And I love being at University of Colorado and having an opportunity to do what I do. God has allowed me to coach. He's given me those kind of gifts and that passion and all those type of things. And, so it's an honor just to do what I do. And then to be here and have people pat you on the back when I'm sitting there with these guys that I look up to. And I mean that. I mean, they're awesome. And to be included even in this room, I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel like, you're all that. You know what I'm saying? And thank goodness it ain't all about me. It's about our football team. And it's about what our players have done. And it's certainly about the staff that we have, both offense and defense. They're unbelievable guys. And unless you have a great room, forget about it. And I've seen programs that are some of the best in America that have crashed and burned because of the egos and because people are looking out for themselves and are not looking out for each other as a team. And I was with Coach Harbaugh also, the Niners, and he always talked about the team, the team, the team. And there's no question that is a critical piece in all of it. So it's certainly an honor to be here. I appreciate all of you so much for even allowing me to be here. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I certainly, like I said before, appreciate the recognition for assistant coaches in this country because they're certainly, to me, the backbone of all these programs and what they do. So I won't go on. I know 3 to 5 minutes. I could go for 45 easily. But anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, you know what? I thought I was going to do that. I wrote this down. Y'all, I put down, Jody, recognize your wife. And I didn't do it. Jody Beth, I love you so much. I am in trouble. I am in trouble. Love you.
Oh, gosh. Our next finalist from the Alabama Crimson Tide, Jeremy Pruitt. This is the second time he's been a finalist for the Broyles Award. Talk about a coach that's done terrific things in his career. How about pressure? Do you know what pressure is? Pressure is going into a situation where a team has just won a national championship, and a team has a terrific defense, and you're chosen to become the next defensive coordinator of that team. That's pressure. Not only to meet the standards of Alabama in that defense, but to get better. He improved their defense with the Jonathan Allens and the Tim Williams and the Mika Fitzpatricks. They got better. They're a ferocious defense this year because of Jeremy Pruitt's leadership. And that's the reason why he is, again, a Broyles finalist. Let's see some more on Coach Jeremy Pruitt.
Jeremy Pruitt, Alabama. No defense has created more havoc for opposing offenses this season than Jeremy Pruitt's Alabama D. The Tide D has been historically good. The numbers, incredible. They've allowed under 70 yards a game rushing, and opponents are averaging just over 11 points a game. They don't have a weakness. Their national rankings, number 1 against the run, number 2 against the pass, and number 1 in total defense. And Pruitt's D specializes in game-changing plays. They average almost 4 sacks a game, and Alabama leads the nation in defensive touchdowns. Alabama defenders have scored 10 touchdowns this season. The most impressive stat for Jeremy Pruitt's Alabama D, they started something new this season. No touchdown November. They went 42 days the hard this season without allowing a touchdown. Today, the Broyles Award honors the coach of the nation's most complete defense, Jeremy Pruitt of Alabama.
You know, Mark, we put in a new drill this past spring at teaching them how to score touchdowns on defense. Nah, yeah, seriously. Before I forget, my wife was out of the room. So you know you missed your time, but you were out of the room. The last time I was here, we were engaged. So we're not on 40 years yet, Don. We're on 3. We're working on 40, and I hope we get there. But Casey, would you stand up? Now, she knew what she was getting into before we got married. She was actually a compliance officer, so that kind of helped in recruiting a little bit, kind of helped on the rules there. But she's made me a better coach, a better person, and makes my job real easy. I just want to say that I'm honored to be here representing the University of Alabama. We were talking about dream jobs this morning. And for me, growing up in Rainsville, Alabama, most of you hadn't heard of it, but it's up on Sand Mountain, and having the opportunity to coach at the University of Alabama is a dream come true for me. This is my second stint there. I was there 6 years with Coach Saban before, and then I left, and I'm back again. But it's an honor to represent the university, Coach Saban, and the football program and the administration there. You know, when I got in this morning, y'all heard I got in at 2:30. I sent one of our sports information guys. I said, hey, I need you to give me a few talking points. I actually thought it was 7 to 10 minutes, David. So anyhow, he sent me one, so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is not me at all. You know, I'm kind of one of these guys that just kind of bring it from the heart a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I threw that out, and here I go. But just want to say thank you to the Broyles Award for recognizing assistant coaches. Betsy and Molly, thank you for taking care of Casey in my absence last night. Lincoln, thank you for taking my spot there at the table. But just to be a part, I'm happy to be a part of the event that's raising money for the Broyles Foundation. It's really a special event. When I was walking through the deal, and we do this at Alabama, we have what we call the Walk of Champions. And it basically, they've put in the cement there as you walk through, the crowd's gathering up, and they got every name listed of every player that was on the championship team and every coach. And so one of the things that we do, some of us former coaches, when we walk through, I always that's a big honor to me because I see my name on that deal. Well, I was walking through here, and I looked, and I saw Mickey Andrews when I first walked in. And my time at Florida State, you know, Florida State was playing great defense long before I was ever born. Coach Andrews, he talking about bringing the pressure, he could do it. But it was a real honor for me that every week he would come in on a Friday and just sit and talk. And just the respect that I had for him and the time that I got to spend with him really meant a lot to me. You know, I saw David Cutcliffe. I actually saw him last night. I know he don't remember this, but in 1998, 1999, I was a graduate assistant at West Alabama, University of West Alabama in Livingston, Alabama. I don't even think I had a degree yet. I was still working on it, and they were letting me coach, so I don't know what I was making. I guess they were giving me room and board. But anyhow, Coach Cutcliffe, he was the head coach at Ole Miss. He was coming to speak
to raise money or whatever for Bobby Johns. Bobby Johns was the head football coach. They were friends. So when the event was over with, and there was about 45 people in there, and it really was more like the Western Sizzling deal, but Coach Johns gave me the opportunity to drive Coach Cutcliffe back to the airport. And so last night I'm at the Nagurski Award, and he's the keynote speaker. So I'm thinking about that. You know, it's 1999. I'll never forget. I got two hands on the wheel. I'm driving. I got the head football coach at Ole Miss, and we're riding down through there, and we start talking because he was an Alabama graduate, and we knew some of the same people. But just how this sport's kind of unique and how it brings people together. It's really exposed me to a lot of people. I couldn't go in and name all the great coaches that I've had a chance to be around. I'm going to try to name a few, starting with the head football coach that I played for at Alabama, Gene Stallings. I saw him the other night before our game. He was an honorary captain. We sat down and talked, and really enjoyed it. Boots Dunley. A lot of people don't know this, but I originally went to Middle Tennessee for 2 years, and Boots was as tough as they come. Jimbo Fisher, he gave me the first opportunity to be a coordinator. Mark Rick, worked for him for 2 years, and one big thing with Coach Rick is just how to be a husband, just how to be a husband. He always told me, he said, Jeremy, when it's Christmas, do it 2 weeks earlier. When it's birthdays, do it 3 weeks earlier. He said, it don't matter what you get them, if you'll do it 2 or 3 weeks earlier, they'll appreciate it a lot more. So I've been practicing that. Coach Saban, he gave me an opportunity. I was a high school coach. A lot of people don't realize this. I was telling these guys up here, my first job, I was a K through third grade PE teacher. And you got to understand this. My father is still a high school football coach. That's what he did. And unlike a lot of people, I knew from the time that I could probably walk, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be just like my dad. I saw what a positive impact that he had on the people in our community. He was the head football coach at where I went to school, I think 31 or 32 years. He was the quarterback there. I was the quarterback. My brother was. My oldest son was. So very unique community. But I saw what an impact him and my mom had, and that's what I wanted to do. So I never thought about being up for the Broyles Award or coaching at Alabama. I wanted to coach young people and have a positive impact on them. So my first job, I was a K through third grade PE teacher. I'd done it for 3 years. I'd done that from 8:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. Then I go over to the high school and I coach ball. And I'm going to tell you something that's unique about that. I come back to the University of Alabama. I think it's December the 12th or 15th sometime this past year. And I walk into the building. And I walk in there, and this young lady, she walks up, and she says, hey, Coach Pruitt, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing fine. How are you? She's like, you don't remember me? And I said, no, ma'am. She said, she tells me her name. I taught her in kindergarten. So she's changed a little bit, all right? I go down. They have the first practice. I guess they're getting ready for bowl practice or whatever. And one of the managers comes up, which I recognized him, and I taught him elementary PE. Well, then the trainers come out. There's another one. So there's 3 students that I had, K through third grade, that are there in our program right now. So that's kind of unique. It's funny how you have a chance, maybe you don't even realize it, maybe to touch people along the way. And a lot of people have touched me along the way. Obviously, we wouldn't be standing up here if we didn't have success. And I can't say enough about the guys that I have an opportunity to coach. I may get emotional here. When you talk about being a man, I'm coaching some men. I can tell you that right now. And the fire and the passion that they have for the University of Alabama, excuse me, means a lot to me because that's where I'm from. That's where I played, didn't play a whole lot, but the opportunity to coach these guys and what they bring and what they stand for, that's what we do it for. It's not for us. I got in this business to have a positive impact on people, not to stand up here and get an award and things like that. But it's an honor to be here. but it's about the kids, and it will always be about the kids. You know, I hear people talking about the kids have changed. I don't believe that. I do not believe the kids have changed. I believe the coaches have changed. Kids love discipline, and the guys at our place, we tell them on the recruiting trail, Alabama's it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. All right, we're going to define your role. We're going to hold you accountable. And if you don't do it the right way, we're going to confront you. And our kids buy into it. And that's a tribute to Coach Saban and implementing that program when he came there in 2007. And I'm just proud that I could contribute a small part into it. I know my time's probably up, but I just want to again thank David and Molly and Betsy for allowing me to be here. And thank y'all.
Our fifth finalist, Brent Venables from the Clemson Tigers, is no stranger of being here. This will be his third time at his second school. Now, that's impressive when you can do that. That's how good of a coach he is. Not only that, they made the college football semifinals back-to-back years this year. They'll be playing in the Fiesta Bowl. And hopefully, with good luck, they'll make a championship and win it. But with his tutelage, with all the players that they lost this year, that's an impressive accomplishment for his defense to be as good as they are. Let's hear more and see more on Brent Venables.
Clemson. Brent Venables wasn't supposed to be back this season. When you lose 7 starters and 6 of them end up on NFL rosters, you're supposed to rebuild or maybe retool. Not Coach Venables. This season, his new-look Tiger defense led the ACC in total defense, allowing just 307 yards a game, tackles for losses almost 5 a game, and passing yards a game only 180. And Venables' Clemson D came up huge in the most critical situations. They are ranked 5th nationally in third down defense, and they are 8th nationally in both scoring and total defense. Venables' D also specializes in takeaways. They are ranked 10th nationally in interceptions, and only one defense in the country scored more touchdowns than Brent Venables' Tiger defense. For the second straight year, the Broyles Award is proud to welcome Clemson's Brent Venables. He's a 3-time Broyles Award finalist.
Well, being here the third time doesn't make it any easier. I'm like Coach Levitt, and I'll bring you up to date on our background together here in a minute. But I'm uncomfortable as well. Nobody values and respects how you have success more than me, and it first starts with incredible support. And I'm gonna get this one right and thank my wife. My college sweetheart of 19 years and my greatest supporter and best friend, Julie. Would you stand up, please? She's my other half. She's the right side of my brain. I got the third downs and all that thing down. She thinks for me, helps me operate as a husband, father, but wouldn't be here without her. Thank you. I'd also like to thank David and Jeff and Molly and Betsy. Just what I love about it, nothing great in life is going to be accomplished without the love and the passion that you all pour in to the Broyles Award and the foundation and the respect that you have and the value that you have and Coach Broyles has had for assistant coaches and now the support again of his foundation. And what an incredible opportunity for all of us to be a small part of and moving forward, continued supporters. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Coach Horton and Coach Hatfield in pouring into us as assistant coaches. Coach Hatfield, of course, was briefly at Clemson. I know most of his career was here in Arkansas, but those guys were up here along with Coach Broyles, just on a pedestal as a young coach growing up, and like, oh, that's him. And to spend some time together today at breakfast. And to listen to them, put their hair down, so to speak, make themselves vulnerable, and to share some experiences was really special for me. And to the other finalists, congratulations. What an incredible feat. There's so many hundreds of qualified coaches that are out there that could easily be in our places. And, the number one thing that I think all of us agree on is the reason we're here is because of our players and our staffs. And I'd also like to thank our players at Clemson, and not just this year's group. This year's group is incredibly special to me for so many reasons. But these last 4 years, the foundation that they've set and have been a big part of our success as a team, and our offensive players as well. The work that they put in, how they make us better, the humility. Just been so blessed to be a part of a program that stands for what's good. And again, the way they work, the way they complement one another, the humility that allows us to coach them, and that never give up attitude. It's very humbling to be a part of, and they take a lot of pride in their work. Nobody, again, values that more and respects that more and appreciates that more than us as a coaching staff. I'd like to take an opportunity to also thank our defensive coaching staff. Marion Hobby, who coaches our defensive line, co-coordinates with me. Dan Brooks, who's the best in the business, was also recently acknowledged as the AFCA National Coach of the Year. Well-deserved for Dan. Mike Reed, who coaches our secondary, and then our support staff, DeAndre McDaniel, Andrew Warwick, Zach Galley, Zach Fulmer, Lemansky Hall, Mickey Kahn, and Mike Briglin. Those guys, they're kind of the glue to the whole operation. They get zero credit, but they're the real keys to success, again, along with our players. In regards to the finalists here, got a brief history with all of them. Lincoln ruined my Christmas a year ago, trying to figure out how to slow them down. Going in, we played each other in the Orange Bowl, so I appreciate that. It was miserable, but got great respect for Lincoln, and what a bright future he has. He's very, very talented. Jeremy, he and I, we were talking last night at dinner before Jeremy got here, and all those option coaches, no offense, Coach Hatfield, but those option offenses, us defensive guys look at them as communist. And so Jeremy and I have, amongst other things, have shared some ideas back and forth on the best ideas to try to slow those guys down. I'm going to skip the next one here and go to Matt Canada, who kicked our teeth in this year, humbly so. We still haven't stopped the option play, a little shovel option, and what an amazing job he's done. Did a great job at Wisconsin, NC State. Very humble to be up here. Very well-deserved recognition for Matt and the job that he's done his whole career, but what an impact he's had in such a short time there at Pitt. And then Coach Brown, nobody does it better. We would watch, when he was at Boston College, we would watch their film. Where's the Boston College game of every common opponent, and see what his plan was, because just from a strategy standpoint, toughness standpoint, fundamental standpoint, his boys were always spot on, and got a lot of admiration and respect for Coach Brown. And then last but not least, but Coach Jim Leavitt gave me my first opportunity as a player. I played at Kansas State, and Coach Leavitt was my linebacker coach. To be on the same stage with him is pretty humbling, and so we go way back, and he and Coach Bob Stoops were co-coordinators, but Coach Leavitt taught me a lot about the game, and coming from a single family home, coaches were always, they kind of bridged that gap for me and my father. So great example for me. I've been real fortunate to have a lot of really strong mentors, and Coach Leavitt, he offered me my first full-time job. So I was a GA at Kansas State for 3 years, and then Coach Leavitt was going to South Florida to start that program. Now, what he did there was next to remarkable. He had them in the top 5 in the country back-to-back years. His last couple of years there, it's no surprise to me, but it's pretty remarkable in the big picture. And he's a winner. He's a fighter. And kids love to play for him. His passion and energy and enthusiasm are unparalleled. But he offered me a first job. He said, look, he said, if Coach Snyder keeps jacking around and doesn't hire you to take my spot, I got a job for you. So everybody's talking about $5,000, right? He said, I got a job, but I can't pay you. You're going to have to work for free. He's going to hire me full time. He says, I might be able to get you a car. And he's so right. And he taught me at a young age that you do this not for the money, but just for the love of the kids, to help shape and mold and influence their lives, hopefully in a positive way. All of us have been gifted from God. God is good all day, all the time. And he's gifted all of us with a love for the game and the love for the opportunity to, again, make a difference in young people's life. Probably to a man, we've all been influenced that way, and I know certainly I have. I'd like to acknowledge the 3 head coaches that I've had a good fortune to work for, and Bill Schneider gave me my first opportunity as a player and awarded me a scholarship, and he taught me about you get what you earn, and I walked on and earned a scholarship. And he taught me so many things that I still carry to this day. I remember the first staff meeting I was in as a young GA, and I was just in awe of how thorough Coach Schneider was. There's nothing that he doesn't think of. And his organizational skills, his attention to detail, his consistency, he's never really high, he's never really low. And what a great quality he is, just a tremendous mentor, and made a tremendous impact for me as a coach. And Coach Bob Stoops, who was, again, also a coach on the staff there at Kansas State when he took the job at Oklahoma in 1999, got an opportunity to go coach with Coach Stoops. And as good of a man as there is in the business, he's a guy's guy. He gets it, great family man. He taught me so many things on how to balance the rigors and the stresses and the demands of being a college football coach and being a great family man, husband and father, and have fun while he's doing it. But taught me about toughness and confidence. And then I want to say a special thanks to Coach Dabo Sweeney and his wife, Kathleen. Just great people, incredible people, as much as they are anything. Coach Sweeney is authentic as it gets in this business. He makes himself very vulnerable. He's not afraid to have his guard down in a profession where we all got our guard up, 24/7. He's a glass half full. He's a perpetuator of the positive. He loves life. He loves players. But he has a genuine love and concern and care and appreciation for players. And if I've learned something, and he hits a lot of the other categories a lot of the other coaches did, but it's that. And he's got a glass half full mindset 24/7, and has really helped me grow professionally in so many ways, both on and off the field. And I'm forever indebted to him and his family and the Clemson family and the Clemson University for giving me the opportunity that I have to work at a great place every day with great people. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here again, and again, the Broyles Foundation. Honored, humbled, all the above, and thrilled to be here. Thank you.
All right. It is time. Real quick, I want to acknowledge Kevin Trainer, whose mother-in-law is married to Coach Broyles. Kevin, thank you for always being a part of this award, and your mother-in-law, how wonderful she is with Coach Broyles. At this time, first of all, let's give it up for our finalists. Was that not an amazing group? Wow. It's the most painful thing because all 5 of them could win. I mean, that's how close the voting is. All 5 of them really could have one of these, but only one could be called the winner. At this time, I want to remind you there are pledge cards on your tables for the Broyles Foundation. Take one of those with you and fill it out sometimes and get involved with the Broyles Foundation if you would. And speaking of, and how about Mark May? Was it not great having him here today? All right. It is time. Betsy and Molly, will you please come to the podium? Mark, you can come stand behind them, but this will be the first time that Betsy and Molly will announce a winner. We won't mark behind them. And coaches, again, thank you for the great jobs you do with your young men in your program. Thank you for being here. All of you are winners.
This is very exciting.
All right. Congratulations, Coach Venables.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next year, everybody. Congratulations to all coaches and Coach Venables. brother. And we'll have lunch soon, all right? Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I'm so glad you're here, my friend. So glad. What a surprise you're here. Call us on the show sometime. Call us and say hello. Thank you so much. What a great job. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, we need to get that down. Let's get this whole thing down, and we'll do those pictures down there. RJ Hawk. What we're going to do here in a second, we're going to take this down. Yeah, hey, can you help us get that table down real quick? Yeah. Let's take this table underneath it. Yeah, gotta have that. Yeah, you still compliment it. Yeah, go ahead. Got it? Go around, yeah, go around and go down. Yeah. So much. We good? Yeah. Okay, do that. Shot. All right, go ahead. Anybody needs, if anybody wants to, go ahead. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. 102. 103, not bad. else we need to do? Did everything work out okay? I didn't even see where my mother was. And we all. Okay, so that's only we got to remember to, yeah, I'm not happy with it. They never got a video or anything. I'm happy with it. It worked out fine. Hey, you guys good? You good? Good. Thanks, brother. We got to get that, but that'll end this championship trophy. But we got to get parents to take that trophy today over to the discount trophies now, as soon as we're done. So, I don't know. I got to call Garrett to ask him to do it. Oh, man,